on a long haul today. Come on, we are on a long haul doozy. We're trying to squeak out a 4,000 miler is what we're doing. From Montana, what is 2,000 miles from Montana? Well, that's the interesting question. There's only certain places you can go from Montana that allow you to drive 2,000 miles without running into another nation or running into the ocean. Central Iowa. I am on my way to pick up a trailer. What am I doing? What am I doing? I've been asking myself that question for the last couple weeks. Well, I say country music ain't quite all it used to be. There's your clue. If you give to me a guitar and my woman on the road, I'll give to you my family, my solid country gold. Woo. Man, oh man. Hey, here's your clue. I feel very much like I should be getting ready to go on a NASCAR run. 11 miles per gallon bobtailing in this truck. And we were not bobtailing slowly. You all remember the flooding in North Carolina I guess it's been a couple years back now. Massive construction going on, and will be for a long time. Well, y'all, I'm here to buy. What am I here to buy? You guess. In a place like this, what am I here to buy? What am I here to buy? I think it's one of those? No, because I bobtailed out here. It can't be that. Could it be one of those? No, I already have a Prius. No, I'm just kidding. I meant the reefer. Could it be a reefer? No. Could it be a bucket? But this is more my jam. Why, oh why, would I, in a million years, drive 2,000 miles away to buy one of these? They're all over Montana. They're all over the Dakotas, especially a spread axle nonetheless. That is a good question. I'm gonna give you a clue. Are you ready for the clue? Been a lot of clues on this episode so far. I'm gonna give you another one. Clue is right here. That's the clue. See that? It's called a rail. Are you picking up what I'm laying down? This is a 4-deck pig and sheep trailer. Am I buying it for sheep? No. I'm buying it for pigs. That's right. You heard it first, right here. I'm going full circle trying to get back into the hog hauling, just like Rooster was. He was hogs. I was hogs to start, and then I kind of got on the cattle train, still on the cattle train, but I'm trying to get back into the hog situation. Now, why would I want to be in the hog situation? Why? Rooster has always taught me from a young age, ever since I was a wee boy, scrubbing lights on the trailers at the truck stops when we fuel up. He said, son, there's something you gotta always remember. The lowest form of humanity is the trucker. I would always say, yes, Father. The lowest form of a trucker is a hog hauler. He taught me that off the bat. So we'd be driving down the freeway and he'd say, son, what do you know? You know, a lot of parents do the positive affirmations where their kids are like, I am strong, I am handsome, I am wonderful, I am creative. Rooster would say, what are your affirmations, Jackson? And I would say, I am part of the lowest form of humanity, the trucker. I am a part of the lowest form of the trucker, a hog hauler. So here I am, rising into the full glory of the lowest form of the trucker to get back into the hog hauling. Okay, hey, we're in. Let's go through this trailer together. I'm going to show you how it works a little more, explain it to you, kind of what I'm trying to develop. I'm having to kind of expand my entrepreneurial spirit, sort of putting the cart before the horse, but sometimes you have to do that in business. You can't wait for something to put in the cart. You have to put the cart out there and wait for the work to come. So that's what I'm hoping to do in general. But let's walk you through this. I'm going to explain why I drove 2,000 miles and why I didn't just buy something that was much closer to home and much less of a road trip. So when I say it has a rail in it, this is what I'm talking about. There's a rail that runs the full length there and the full length here, right? That rail allows for a temporary floor made out of these pieces of decking. Okay, this is decking. This stuff pulls out, it fits in the channels and goes across there and turns this, which right now is one compartment, turns it into two compartments. If the flooring was in, I would have to be crawling on my hands and knees in here, right? Because there would be a floor split in the middle of this compartment. Now when that deck is out, cattle fit in here just fine. However, I don't need this trailer for cattle. This is strictly for this hog deal that I'm trying to get going. To load it, pigs would come in, right? They'd come in through the back door. This floor would come to here. They would step up just a little bit into this floor to load the center compartment here. To load the bottom, of course, it'd be just like cattle. You'd flip this trap door up and let them come down through the ramp. Of course, once the bottom's loaded, you got to put this piece in so that the little pigs don't end up getting up inside the ramp and hurting themselves during transport. So that's what that is for. Now, another interesting thing in these, when you haul cattle in one of these trailers, you only can split the nose deck, right? You can do 2 layers in the nose. Let me show you here what this is like. So in the nose, you'll see let me zoom out. There are 3 rails, right? There's this bottom floor. So this is the first layer, excuse me. And then you can put another floor right here in this rail and make a 3rd compartment. And then you put the 4th floor, the 4th decking rather, up here where it's at. You fill it in and that makes a 3rd compartment up high. So this is a pig rail. That's a pig rail. If I was gonna haul cattle, I would take it out of this rail and slide it into that center rail to split the compartment in half. However, for hauling pigs, you'd want to do 3 compartments, or sheep. Not planning on hauling sheep with this either, but. So to load the bottom compartment of the nose, you bring the first run of pigs in, they walk across this top deck, and you chase them right through this door here into this bottom compartment, and then you close the door on them. Hey, one beautiful thing with hogs, they are so light on the floor. This trailer is a 2009, which still in my mind doesn't seem that old to me in my mind, but it is actually fairly old in terms of age anymore, just because that's how time goes, time flies. But look how good the floors are. Now we're gonna get up into the actual specialty part of this particular trailer. So this compartment is also set up the same way where there's a rail here, okay? This is the upper deck. If you were hauling cows, again, you just have one set of cows in here, but it has a rail. So you can deck this and turn one compartment into 2 compartments. Okay, now you gotta try to follow me here. If you're not used to this is gonna be a little different for you, okay? So when this deck is in, remember we're gonna have 3 layers here in the nose. This is all gonna come together for you. So to load the top layer, you gotta remember there's gonna be a floor right here. So the pigs will walk in, they'll walk straight through here into this top compartment. Then to load the middle compartment, you're gonna get a little tricky here. You pull this wing out, it latches against the wall right there and makes a little wing. Little piggies come up on the next layer, right? You open this door right here, and it walks them through to the next rail, right? So you have the very bottom floor that I showed you in the belly, and you have this would be the second access to the second floor. This would be your access to the 3rd floor. Okay, this is where you really got to follow me now. Most 4-deck trailers have a permanent, well, not permanent, they have a back compartment that totally folds down. This one doesn't. That back half back there, that folds down flat. This little gate shuts off and it makes an L-shaped compartment. Now a sheep trailer, a true sheep trailer, or a true 4-deck trailer would also have this piece that folds down. Now, if this piece is folded down and that back piece was folded down, there's no way to load these decks up here unless you have a double-decker chute. You'd have to have a chute that has a first floor that lets them in the bottom, and then you'd have to have a second floor that would let them in the back, and you would load animals through the back on the second story through here, and they would step up into this top deck and step down into the center deck, right? So that's what you would have to have set up. Problem is, these pig producers do not have double deck chutes, at least in the deal that I'm trying to get into. They just have single floor chutes. If this rail came all the way back to here, there would be no way to load these upper decks without a double deck chute. So enter this. And I'm probably gonna modifying this. I know I'm gonna have to do some modifications for sure. But, so check this out. This fourth floor doesn't come all the way back, right? It stops. So to load that, you gotta imagine this. You could have a ramp down here out. That's how you normally get livestock up to this floor. So they're gonna come in the back, walk up a ramp, which will get them to this lip. They'll step on this ramp, which will take them up to the imaginary fourth floor, right? So most of this compartment will have 4 floors, not the entire thing. And that's how you load. That's the advantage of this. This can be a 4-deck trailer all loaded from the ground. Now, to get to the 2,000-mile thing, I found some other trailers. I tried to buy one that was permanently set up with 4 decks, and it just went for way too much money. For what it was, it was way too much money. So this trailer, if this whole business idea goes down in a ball of flames, I can sell this as a cow trailer. I mean, I can take this ramp out like permanently, and it's just a regular spread axle with amazing floors, right? And I can get most of my money out of it, just selling it and being done with it. But that's not what I want. I want to get this pig deal, and I'll tell you why here in a little bit. The 2,000-mile thing was because these floors are removable. So the other trailer, had I bought it for way more money, and it had permanent decks that I couldn't take out, it can only haul sheep and only haul pigs. No cattle options. And like I say, I don't need it for cattle, but it makes it way more marketable if I end up not being able to get this deal put together. Okay, and then if you know, you already know, but if you're wondering what this big old box is for, inside of here is winter boards. It's called a winter kit. They're boards that are cut into perfectly rectangular dimensions and go in these slots right here. See that? So they're made, you slide the board. I did that the other day. A cut on my hand. Slide the board up through those channels there, up to the top, and it covers these holes. In the wintertime, keeps everything super nice and warm. So you cover the whole entire trailer for these little pigs. Some decent tires. Had some oil I had to clean up. Oil around the hub. This whole thing was black. Grabbed my wrench and those hubcap bolts were just all loose. So it was just weeping. I think that's gonna be fine. All the hubs are holding oil. They did at some point replace the brakes, the drum, S-cam, slack adjuster, S-cam bushings just on this one wheel end. He told me that the previous guy, that the brakes cammed over, which tells me that these are all gonna need to be replaced and redone. You can also see the brake shoes walking out on one side here. It's out on this side and it's in up there. That means the S-cam bushings are definitely shot, like they have been on every cow trailer I've ever bought. Certainly gonna need some days in the shop for S-cams and bushings, which means I think I'm gonna have to take all the hubs off. If the hubs are off, it's gonna get new wheel seals. If the hubs are off, I'm gonna look at the bearings, which is all good to go through everything, right? The other upside to a pig trailer is they never haul heavy loads. Like, you can put a load of cows on these, it'll make your eyes water in terms of weight. I've known some people, and some of you cow haulers out there have been known to put 45,000 pounds back here at times, just because that's the way it was, which is just horrible overloading, and it's just what happens. But a full load of pigs, like 30,000 pounds with these little pigs. See in there that there's those angle irons, right? That's how they mount it to the frame. There's an angle iron there, and there's another one over there. Well, I'm down here airing up tires, and I notice this. Do you guys notice what I wasn't pleased about? That's the bracket. Look what happened there. Cut it. Cut it. So he was airing up tires with me. I was like, hey, bud, why did you cut those? I got to put this back together to put my board kit under here. I mean, don't have to, but I'd like to. Why'd you? Well, I didn't have any way to take them off. I was like, buddy, them are bolts. And then he felt dumb. I didn't mean to make him feel dumb, but he's probably in a hurry or whatever. I was just like, I'm just cut these off. So he just cut the angle irons. So I'll have to get new ones and drill. And I was like, you just took a job that should be 30 minutes and turned it into a couple hours. Gonna need a fair bit of new lights. Like the lights were all functioning basically, except for like 3 or 4 of these LEDs are working. So definitely gonna need some replacement lights. Now these big rectangular square lights, these are considered kind of old school. On one hand, they're kind of cool because they're old school. You don't see trucks anymore, cattle trailers with the rectangular lights. You'll still see some round lights, some bigger round light mounts that stick out, or the little Micro Nova flush mount ones. Those are the 2 styles you see. These are definitely the last of the old school, which I don't mind them. They do just kind of date the trailer, but I'm not ashamed of stuff like that. But they're all these LED rectangular lights. And they actually put off a ton of brightness. But there's enough of them. This is the problem with these. They're hard to find a matching set of these things. So what I may end up doing is getting rid of these and getting the plastic mounted, what are they, the 2.5-inch round LEDs that see, even like this, it's like, man, you know these are gonna be needing to gone through because it's not weather protected. These will all be, you know, just bare butt connectors. I hate that kind of thing. I'm like, guys, these ones are done right. They weatherproofed them at least, but you'll find this on, I mean, any used trailer you buy, those ones up there, that one's broke off, but those ones up there are the same. These ones are the same. You gotta protect that stuff from the weather. You're just gonna be redoing your lights again in a couple years. Like they'll last for a couple years. These are original, looks like still, maybe. So anyhow, here's the frame. I know showing you just a quick little minute of it's not a total perfect representation of the situation, but really, honestly, really clean. New shocks it'll need. Probably repaint these just to get all this off. Clean them up good. Looks like they put a new leveling valve on it maybe sometime there in the past, but he also wired in a dump valve for this, so it does have a dump valve on the back. The big question now, by the way, the wire just came through. I saved over what I was trying to buy that other trailer for, like $20-some thousand. So I'm better off. I have a lot of wiggle room. I think if I put about $2,500 into this trailer, I'll have it where I want it. If I do the work, you know, which I do, I think I'll have it just right, just where it needs to be. Hey, let me get back now to the point of this, okay? And then I'm gonna fire up the truck and we're gonna head her. We only have 2,000 miles to go in the next 2 days and we'll get her home. But here's the thing. In the past, I have more or less trucked freely in terms of like, I'll go out for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, get the deal done, come home. I'm gonna be honest, those days are past. Those days are behind me. Every trucker that you ever talk to, if you ask what any of his regrets are, it is always, I wasn't home enough. I missed all my kids, fill in the blank, concerts, sporting events, birthdays, whatever they say, right? They miss those things. So I've been determined from the beginning of this career, years ago, to have like chapter marks, end games for certain periods. The period of me going out and running 150, 160, 70,000 miles a year, those days are behind me. Physically, they're behind me. Can't do it anymore. And emotionally and all that, they're behind me, okay? So where does that leave me? It leaves me needing to, one, you know, as you guys know, I have football season, right? Which takes up from mid-August until Thanksgiving. Every day I have to be at the school. On weekends, we have football games. So it really puts a strain and a bind on what do I do for a living in those months, because I still have to provide. I've got more kids than ever, right? More on the way. So I'm realizing that things that work well for me are livestock events that go out and back. I've got too much stuff going on, too many people now that I need to be around, kids that need the good masculine influence regularly in their lives. And I see that, right? And I recognize that. So I'm now at the point where I've got to figure out what can I do that's just out and back that will give me a baseline income. Well, Montana, it's so hard to find those things and get a hold of them and be able to achieve that. So I've discovered, Rooster was a pig man from way back, and Rooster, we know the pig business, we know hogs, we know all that. And so I got to thinking and looking and talking to some guys and realized that there are pig loads that would allow that out and back. They don't pay great, but it's steady. And all I'm trying to develop is 2 loads a month, because I get about 2 loads a month, 2 loads every 5 weeks of cows. If I could get 2 loads of pigs in another trailer, that would give me about a load a week that are just out and back, right? 2.5 days tied up. Yes, it puts a hard ceiling on my income ability, but I've put in all these miles, the hundreds of thousands, literally over 1 million miles, getting to this point so that I can step back now and go, okay, I don't need to max every single thing to the gills. I've saved enough money that I can now, for the next 10, 15 years of my life, just try to hold this baseline income, right? And it'll work and it'll be okay. So that's why I'm doing this. If I can get a pig load, like I say, doesn't pay great. Cattle pay way more, but I'm okay. I'm okay with not making cattle money, right? So that's the whole thing. It's all rooted in that I recognize other people's regrets. My dad, old Rooster, worked his tail off to be home on the weekends for our events. I don't feel like I had an absent father, despite the 2.5, 3 million miles that he trucked. I would never look back and say my father was absent. I had a great upbringing. Mom took care of us. Dad was home on the weekends to help with that and reinforce that good male influence that, to be honest, my experience shows it absolutely is needed, and I recognize that. It's not always able to happen, but I know that it's necessary, right? A lot of people have a lot of situations in life that don't allow for that. But by me sacrificing some time and some money and things, I can accommodate for that. I can make that happen. Is it easy? No. Does it require me to have to brush up my entrepreneurial ways and try to develop a new niche? Yes. So I basically am doing all this on just the word of a guy that said, if you get set up to do this, I will do business with you. I would like to do that. That's all I got. I don't have some written contract that's like, you got these loads, this is in the bag. None of that. But I have faith that because my reasoning behind this is a righteous and good and, meaningful endeavor, that I'll be blessed in a way that will allow me to make this happen. I don't think I'm going to have to sell this as a cow trailer. I think I'm going to wiggle my way in. No pun intended with piggly wiggly, and be able to get something going here. So with that, you guys, let's get rocking and rolling. You guys, I cannot make this up. I literally ended that last clip, and within 30 seconds the phone rang, and it was the hog guys. And they're like, what are you doing right now? And I was like, trying to leave the parking lot of this place I've been sitting at in North Carolina, waiting for this wire to go through. Okay, well, when are you going to be home? I was like, Saturday. They're like, okay, you ready to haul on Thursday? I was like, yep, I guess so. So all of a sudden we're going into crazy Manhattan Project mode here, and I need to get this thing home ASAP. S-cam bushings, all that stuff. Of course, it's not out of service at all worthy, so that's gonna have to wait. I've got to get the inside figured out ASAP. Bing, bang, boom. Can't lollygag on that. Got to get my decking in. And I was like, you only need the 3 decks for now, right? Because that's what they've been doing. They're like, no, we need the 4th deck too. Okay. So necessity breeds ingenuity. Remember, we've talked about that before. Anyhow, I'm gonna get her home, get her rigged up as soon as humanly possible. As far as inside is ready to go, let's put a load on and move it. And then it's every other week, so that'll give me a couple weeks after that to be able to settle. All right, we're about 50 miles, 60 miles, 70 miles down the road. climbed up out through the gorge there into Tennessee, just south and east of Knoxville. Give you a little reference. I'm going to go back and let's see what's going on. Make sure there's no flat tires, no burning hubs. Everything felt pretty good. So let's check it out. My mind now, of course, is just racing, thinking about all the how I have to have this thing ready to go in a few days. Ah! Good, good. Come on, baby. Just nice and warm. This one was the one that it had a leak. See the oil around. I cleaned it up, and every one of these was loose. But it seems to be good. This sounds cool. Let's see. Well, everything's good. Tires are good. Everything's holding air. Hubs are cool. Everything is right. Spot on, spot on. Just rolling out of here. Oh yeah, my kind of traffic. Hey, another check. I want to check two things. It's starting to get a little dusky. Dusky, not dusty. Dusk with a K. But want to check my lights a little closer now. It's getting darker, and then check my wheels and stuff again. Stopped here, a little Flying J. I'll tell you what, this I don't want to call it East Coast, but this Eastern trucking is something else. No place to park, no room to fuel. Everywhere you go, there's cars, there's people. It's just, I mean, it was that way with NASCAR, but we never had to sleep, so I'm just doing the same thing. I'm just never sleeping. It's just hammered down. I was in Sioux Falls yesterday morning. Came out here, and I plan on I'm not gonna make it to Sioux Falls again, but we'll be a long ways back. It's like this. You got, like, it's working, and that's plenty, but they're not all working. And then we got that beautiful butt connector garbage going on. So I have found these though online now, so I know I can actually get these matching replacements. I think that's the only light that's actually out, like completely out. I think everything else is on, so I might just double down and go old school. Cool. See there? Missing a few. All my hubs are cool. Here we go. These are the ones that are really. See up there? Like that old boy right there. Oh. Anyway. Then just this one little guy on the back. Everything else is good in the hood. Good as gold. Happy as a clam. I just want back on the road. I'm trying to get out of this doggone pilot, and like everyone and their dog is coming in here trying to park. So it's just like everyone backing in everywhere. I'm just like, stop! Road. I want to get back on the road. I'm gonna drive through the night. Let's go. I'm not. Shut them logbooks off. Throw them out the window. Just forget about them. It's a lot easier to truck when you don't gotta worry about your doggone logbooks. Just let them go. Just forget about them. Throw them out.
Go past this light, then at the next one, turn right.
Tight corner. Anyway, just forget them logbooks. You don't need them. Parking lot's full, just go on down the road. Gape out of the scale here. This big line of trucks just came off the freeway, which means they just turned the light back on. Just have loaded the line with trucks here. I'm going to explain this in a minute. There's the line of trucks. We, however, are going out the back door onto the service road, I can tell you that. Right now, let's get out of here. Not today, my little Satans. Not today. Not today, not ever. Not ever. Not ever. Now, before you get your undies in a bundy about blowing scales and la 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 la, let me explain. Here's the truck stop. I'm gonna wheel in there. I'm gonna do my pre-trip inspection in the safety of this parking lot. Okay, well, first of all, good morning to you. Good morning. Good morning. Second of all to you, I'm coming to you from the confines of my cab and not the confines of a jail cell. I really wanted to make it to Kingdom City, Missouri. However, Kingdom City, Missouri has a catch. I've stayed there a handful of times, and of my handful of times staying in that quaint little spot, the DOT likes to creep into the truck stop parking lots and snatch you up for DOT inspections. I have more than one time woken up in Kingdom City and looked out my window to see a trucker in the truck stop parking lot being inspected by the DOT. And I've always been like, man, that is just, I don't like that. It doesn't, excuse me, I don't like that. It doesn't sit right. You're just like, if I owned that truck stop, I would be like, out of here. You're driving business away. You're making this feel like an unsafe place for people to find a little respite from the storm of the DOT, right? So last night I'm cruising along and I just had it. I needed a good big full sleep. So I get just west of St. Louis to the scales there, and I'm like, man, I'm gonna call it. I look on the Trucker Path, which is the app we use to kind of monitor scale opens and closes, and on the Trucker Path it's looking like they rarely are open at all, and if they are, it's only for a few hours. So I take my chances, I pull in. However, the way this weigh station's set up, you can't really sleep past the scale. You have to sleep in the parking lot that's this side of the scale, which is not common and I don't care for, but looking at the history, I'm like, it'll be fine. So, you know where this is going. I wake up in the morning, I open the app, and guess who's wide open? So, to get out, my options are, as I go for my little walk, my little reconnaissance walk, my options are spin around and cross the scale and go out, or try to drive behind the scale house, like literally in the parking lot where their inspection bay is, but I don't like that option. And then I see this little backdoor service road, which is what the workers use to get in to the scale there, which you saw me drive out of. There's no signs that say no trucks drive through this. There's no signage for anything, so as far as I know, I'm square. Now, what's my big worry? Why am I so worried about crossing a scale when I'm empty? Here's my worry. This trailer got no license plate on it, right? I have title in hand for the trailer, but no license plate on the back, which means there's no annual inspection. You know, we've gone through, you've seen the trailer, like the brakes and stuff are close, right? They need to be replaced soon. A couple of those tires are getting down to the nubbin. It's just stuff that I'm like, it's fine. I'm on my way to take care of it. I don't want the hassle. You can't roll the dice. Every time you roll that dice, you will draw snake eyes, and they will come for you. So it is a major concern to try to just steer clear, stay away. I've gotten green lights on my little pre-pass, scanner module, well, whatever you call it, this whole trip. So I haven't had to go in any scales except for this one that I willingly slept in. I just didn't want to deal with it this morning. So we snuck out the back door when they brought in the next wave of semis that they were going to focus on. We snuck right on out. So that's how you do it. You just gotta, you call it what you want, but yeah, I call it being resourceful and wise. You can call it being an outlaw trucker. I call it being resourceful and wise. All right, you little turkeys. That's all I got. It's all the juice in my goose. 14 degrees. It's not horribly cold, but it's nippy. I got my engine heater going, so my little diesel burner's out there blasting, keeping my coolant all nice and warm. I conditioned my fuel, seeing that I fueled back in the land of maybe conditioned fuel, maybe not conditioned fuel. You never roll the dice in the winter. So I put my fuel treatment in there. So my diesel's all good. My engine heater's blasting. Funny to think 2 days ago I had my air conditioning on, but anyway, that's going. I've got my sweats on, my socks on, my sweater on. Keeps my ears warm at night. I don't run the truck and I don't run the heater in here, at least for now. So I've got the trick to staying warm is I got a sheet, I got a blanket, and then I got the big old beastie sleeping bag that I leave doubled. And I just lay the whole sleeping bag on top of me. I don't get in it. Put the whole thing on top, see? And then I will sleep like this. And if I get cold, I will wake up and I do have a diesel bunk heater under me here, but I don't like to run it and the other one at the same time for too long. I have this complex where I think like, oh, the batteries are going to die. They're not. They won't. There's no way. But in my mind, I'm just like, well, I don't need both of them running. Plus the diesel heater inside the cab here will just cook you out. It'll just burn blast you. So what I like to do is bundle good and then go to bed And then usually I wake up once to use the bathroom in the night. So I'll either wake up for that, or I'll wake up because I'll be cold. And at that point, then I'll push the button and fire the bunk heater. Engine heater's on infinitely through the night. Bunk heater will just be on for a couple hours in the morning. So even though it's already morning. But you guys, I hope you enjoyed that little adventure you came along with. That was a lot of miles. Way too many miles for me. That's like old school me miles that I put on this week. As of tonight, I'm hitting about 7,000 miles. I'm not going to tell you how many days that is, because then you'll do the math. And if you guys are worried about me not wearing my seatbelt, you will definitely worry about my logbooks. You think a seatbelt's bad? Joke's on you. Anyways, it's good. So I've just been thinking all day today as I've been driving, just thinking. What do I got to do to this trailer? I think I have kind of a battle plan put together. There's things that need to be done on the trailer, and there's things that I want to be done on the trailer. There's things that need to be done in order to haul the hogs, and there's things that need to be done but maybe aren't super urgent. So this is a good time to use the Eisenhower square. What's important and urgent? Everything inside the trailer, making sure that I got all the decking squared away, it's all secure in there nicely, it fits properly, no nooks and crannies for the pigs to stick their little legs through. And then urgent but not important. Important, not urgent would be the next stuff. That would be the brakes, S-cam bushings. They're all in spec right now, but not for long, right? Like they'll last for a little bit. Those worst tires that I have on, they'll be okay for, a few runs. They've got enough tread to pass an inspection. But so that stuff is important, but it's not urgent. Getting the interior stuff is important and it's urgent. I got to get the winter kit on the side. Got to make sure the trailer's tight and warm. That all has to happen. That's the most important of any of the things. Ordering some new lights, I have enough lights that I pass an inspection. Do they all shine perfectly? No, but they shine. So that's not urgent, not important. That's kind of that, right? So inside, winter kit stuff, so it's warm and it's functional. And then after we get one round knocked out, then I'll have 2 weeks to breathe a little bit and we can tear this baby down. But you better believe I'm going to bring you along to show you the decking situation and what we're going to have to do to modify and tweak and fabricate to get her ready to roll. You guys, that's all I got. I'm getting some shut-eye. Good night.